Hello and welcome to Cannon County High School Algebra 2. Yesterday we talked about the law of sines, and the law of sines is used when you know two angles of a triangle on one side, and you can use that information to find the other angles and sides. Today we're going to talk about the law of cosines. The law of cosines is used when you know two sides and one angle, or sometimes all three of the sides. And we're going to be solving using a different formula. So let's get right to it here. Mr. Lyon, I'm going to have you sit over here. And let's take a look at what the law of cosines looks like. It's a little more complicated than the law of sines, but not too bad. The notation is still the same, however. Take a look at this triangle. Triangle ABC, notice that the angles of the triangle are all capital letters, and then the sides opposite those angles are the lowercase letters. So lowercase a is opposite angle A, and so on. That's going to be important for you to understand how to do these formulas. So the law of cosines has three parts to it. There are three formulas. They're really the same formula. It's just written three different ways. If you're trying to find angle A, side A or angle A, remember the side is the lowercase, the angle is the uppercase. So for this first one, we would either be trying to find side A or angle A. A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared, which kind of looks like the Pythagorean theorem, because it is, it's derived from that. But then it's minus 2 times B times C times the cosine of angle A. For side B or angle B, it's the same pattern. You'll notice the pattern is the same, and for side C and angle C, it's the same pattern. But for B, you can see A and C are here and here. And if you're trying to find side C, then it's A and B are here and here. And then the last letter and the first letter are always the same. So whenever you're solving for a triangle, you're just using one of these three formulas. So let's take a look at a problem and see how it works. Here's a triangle, and you're given two sides and one angle. And they're asking us to find the side opposite angle U. So we want to find side U to the nearest tenth. So let's see. Using our formulas up here, there are no A, B's, and C's, so you just have to kind of get an idea of what they're talking about in this formula. Remember, the side and the angle opposite go here and here. The other two sides go here and here. So for this one, if we're trying to find U squared, so if I write this down right here, U squared is going to equal the two other sides squared, 18 squared plus 14 squared, minus 2 times the other two sides, 18 times 14, times the cosine of the angle between those two sides, times the cosine of 34 degrees. And that's it. Now that's a lot to type into your calculator, but at least we're just typing it all into our calculator. So let's type that in and see what we get. Let's see here. First thing you want to do is make sure that you're in the correct mode. So I'm going to, again, hit the mode button and make sure that I'm in degrees, because whenever I turn this calculator off and turn it back in, it likes to revert back to radian measure, and we're going to be using degrees again today. So let's change that to degrees before we start. And now we can just type this in. 18 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 18 times 14 times the cosine of 34 degrees. So type it in just the way you did there. And then hit enter. And it gives me a very large number. That's 102. Now, when I look at my triangle here, that certainly 102 is way too big. But remember, that's what U squared is equal to. U squared is equal to 102.165 and so on. So I want to take the square root of that. So I'm just going to hit second and square root. And then I'm going to hit second. And the second function of the dash, you see it says ANS. That means the answer. Whatever you've got up there, it'll take the second function of the answer. That way you don't have to type in the whole thing. Now you can if you want to, but that's just a way to make it a little quicker and easier for you. So now I hit enter, and it says 10.107, and we're going to round this to the nearest tenth. So that's 10.1. 10.1. So if this was an IXL, I would type in 10.1. And that looks a little better. Again, this triangle's not drawn to scale, but it looks pretty close. All right, now let's have you try one. Here we go. Here's a new triangle. This side, and this angle, we want to find r to the nearest tenth. Pause this video and see if you can find r to the nearest tenth. And when you come back, we'll figure it out together. All right, we're back. Let's see here. Using the law of cosines, we know that r squared is going to equal the other two sides squared and added together, so that's 7 squared plus 15 squared, minus 2 times 7 times 15 times the cosine of 16. That's it. So let's try that. Here we go. 7 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 7 times 15 times the cosine of 16 degrees. And we get 72.13, but then I know I have to take the square root of that. So I'm going to hit second and square root of the answer, just like I did before. And I get 8.49, which we would round off to 8.5. So how'd you do? 8.5. Okay? 8.5. So let's try another one. Here's another triangle. We're trying to find G this time. We know that this is 10 and this is 14 and this angle is 12. Pause the video and see if you can figure out what G is equal to. Okay, we're back. Let's see here. G squared is going to equal 10 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 10 times 14 times the cosine of that 12-degree angle. So we're going to type all that into the calculator. Squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 10 times 14 times the cosine of 12. I get 22.11, but I'm going to take the square root of that number. So the square root of the answer, 4.7, rounded to the nearest tenth. So G is going to equal 4.7. How'd you do? One more. How about this one? Find the measure of angle H, round to the nearest tenth. All right, well that's a little bit different, isn't it? Let's see, how would we do this? In order for us to figure this out, we would need to choose the formula from the law of cosines that has the measure of angle H. Well, our law of cosines only has A, B, and C, so we're going to have to adapt a little bit here. Angle H is up here. Let's see if we can figure this out. Well, we know that the angle at the end of the formula always matches the side opposite at the beginning of the formula. So, in order for us to figure this out, H is the angle, 14 is like the one out on the other side. So that means that 14 squared is going to equal, well, the other two are there and there. So that'd be 10 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 10 times 5 times the cosine of this angle h that we're trying to find. So really, this is the equation that we are trying to find. Well, that looks like a lot of work. And so what I'd like you to do today, instead of doing an IXL, what I'd like you to do for tomorrow, because you saw in the beginning of this video, it said Law of Cosines Part 1. Law of Cosines Part 2 is going to be tomorrow. And we're going to spend a little bit more time solving triangles like this, where it's side, side, side. All three sides are given. What I'd like you to do right now is see if you can do some algebra and solve for angle H to the nearest tenth of a degree. And we'll start tomorrow's video by solving for angle H and seeing how you did. So that's your assignment for tomorrow. Instead of doing an IXL, I just want you to solve this one problem and see if you can figure out what angle H is equal to. And we will start there tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.